Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I got a shower to take. Just got through doing my workout, but this ain't gonna wait for that. So I'm gonna make this video here telling you guys that Max Christie is going to be signing a 4-year deal with the Lakers at $32 million a piece, $8 million a year for Max Christie. Not a wonderful deal as it pertains to a player that is unproven, but that's our fault for not playing him. So all things considered, I like his work ethic. I love that we drafted him. I love that he's here. I believe in the player. He does have some deficiencies, but who doesn't? But for the most part, I think he's a player with a hell of a lot of upside. And I think by the 4th year of this contract, we're extremely happy to have him on an $8 million a year deal. And he's gonna play that up if we give him the role. So I'm super excited about that. I'm very happy about this. Like I said, it's not a great deal as it pertains to what he's proven versus what we're paying him. But you're gonna thrust him out there to have a much bigger role, and we understand that. So that's just what it is. 32, it's not killing us on the cap too much. I just feel like in most situations when a guy hasn't proven as much as Max has been unable to, you want to see him prove himself before you commit anything. Half of that is probably what I would have been superbly happy about, but I think this is what you have to do when you know a guy is probably wanted on the market, and I think Max Christie is wanted on the market. So it's a good deal. It's not horrible in any way, shape, or form, but I think it's fair. It's a fair deal, and that's what I see there. Also, Anthony Irwin, Laker insider. I don't know how much inside news he really has. He's been off a little bit in certain things. He's been right about a few things, just like most of them. But he's saying that the Lakers are going back and forth really seriously with the Portland Trailblazers in regards to Jeremy Grant. I'm not in love with the Jeremy Grant contract. But looking at the current market, it's not a bad contract anymore. It's aged well. Still got a lot of years on it, but it's aged well in the sense that he's making $29 million a year for 5 years. And you saw Manuel Quickly get 35 a year. You saw OG Anunoby get 40 something a year. I think this guy's probably more productive than both of those players. So suddenly his deal is better today in this market than it was when he signed it a year and a half ago, a year or so ago. So it's still 4 years left on the deal, $29 million a year. My thing is, because I don't recognize it as a good deal or a fair deal, it's still lopsided in the grand scheme of things. I don't want to attach any picks at all. If anything, I want you, Portland, to give me picks, not first rounders necessarily, but maybe some equity of some sort, maybe a couple second rounders or something like that, to take it up off you. Problem is, I don't have very valuable stuff to match either, because what we're sending them to match the salaries, in theory, because this is just me doing the trade tracker, is D'Angelo Russell sign and trade expiring, and that's $18 million, and then Gabe Vincent 2-year deal, 11, which is also not a good contract, even though in this market, if Gabe Vincent comes back and plays his best self, he probably can play that up to being a good, solid, fair contract. But for a team like Portland, they have no need for Gabe Vincent's piece at all. So that would probably be them pushing back against me saying, no, I'm not giving you any picks either. Maybe you need to be giving me some picks since I'm sending you the better player. But the way I see it is, this is a rebuilding team in Portland that needs to come off of long-term contracts to win now players. 4-year deal that was only signed because they thought they were going to have Dame Lillard to keep the timeline making sense. Dame Lillard dipped out of there the moment he signed that thing, so it no longer made any sense. Now, the market that was yesterday, last year, summertime, that was a horrible contract. This year, things have inflated so much till now it's not. So for me, the way I see it is, the Lakers should be able to do that deal without really too much of a struggle anymore. We got contracts that are not favorable. You got a long-term contract that are not favorable. We should be able to swap those without really needing to do anything else. I would try to push a little bit if I'm the Lakers to try to get a second-round pick. And if I'm the Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to try to push a little bit to get a first-round pick, because Jeremy Grant is still a Jeremy Grant. And because it's a decent contract in the market, I probably would want the Lakers to give me some type of protected first-rounder. But I'm not doing that if I'm the Lakers. However, if we can negotiate something to where we just trade those salaries outright, I think it's pretty solid for both teams. Jeremy Grant comes in and helps us for 4 years, which is on being aligned with hopefully Klay Thompson if he signs. He's obviously not expected to sign a 4-year deal, but the point is you'll have Jeremy Grant throughout the duration of Klay, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. So that helps a lot. You still have Rui, you still have Austin, you still have Dalton, you still have other things as well. So that, to me, seems like something that may be doable. I think the Lakers then immediately now need a point guard, or now you're trying to entrust Jalen Hood-Schifino to be that. Maybe you go after somebody else. I don't know how that works, but we still need a center. So I don't know that we have money to get a point guard. So it's a lot of different things that start getting a little tricky for me, unless the Lakers are going to make multiple deals. I don't know how necessary Rui and Vando become if you're bringing in Jeremy Grant. So maybe you move them in a separate deal to get your big man or your point guard. But those are the type of maneuverable things that I think are maybe possible, so long as we don't give up anything we don't want to give up. I don't want to trade any first-round picks at all, and I am tasking Rob Pelinka to get these moves done without giving those up. I want to walk out of this summer with the same amount of picks I got right now. I really do. And we should be able to make moves, especially if we can take on a salary contract like Jeremy Grant. I also understand the Lakers want Brook Lopez from the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, we had Big Brook, but Brook is old as hell, man. I know we can use the center. I know we can use the massive body, but I don't think he has much left, and I'm afraid that we're going to have to give up something we don't want to give up to get him, a younger piece, maybe even a pick or something like that, depending on how Milwaukee's negotiating. I don't necessarily feel like a Rui Hachimura for Brook Lopez is in my best interest. Even if I'm bringing in Jeremy Grant, I don't think that's the best way to use that asset. So I'm kind of concerned about the trading for Brook Lopez side of things. But I haven't heard any rumors of specific trade packages. But I'm just going off of my own skull as it pertains to doing the trade machine. I think the Grant deal should probably be all right. I think we'll be happy to do the Grant deal so long as it is framed out the way I see it. D'Lo Russell and Gabe Vincent going out to Portland for Jeremy Grant. That salary matches perfectly. I don't want to put any picks on it. I don't think they probably want to put any picks on it. Just being honest. Hopefully that's how the deal goes. I don't see any reason why draft equity needs to be coming out of the Lakers to make that happen. The Portland Trailblazers really genuinely need to come off that 4-year deal. And maybe they can move it elsewhere. Maybe you're bidding against somebody, which may force you into a position where you may feel inclined to try to win a battle like that. Since it is a better contract than it was yesterday, there may be other people who might be interested in that contract. But if all things remain as it seems and we're the only team bidding for that thing, giving up any picks, I'm not willing to do. Now, I want picks back, maybe some second rounders, but I just don't think we probably, if my mind's eye is telling me the truth, we probably don't really have the leverage to get that from Portland. And I'm not going to force the deal. It's not going to keep me from making the deal. It really ain't. So I want to get that deal done with absolutely no picks involved. If all things remain equal, man. Just send those two. We'll send two out. You send one back. The caveat for us is to have a player that can help us and meets our timeline. Better contract for the market that we're in. Should be retradable for us so long as the market stays the way it looks right now. If we want to trade it, and if not, we have a player that I think can help us on the defensive end. Next to Anthony Davis, we become a fantastic defensive team. Going forward, it gives us some insurance for some of the other players that are playing that position, like Rui and Vando and maybe even Christian Wood to a degree. Don't necessarily need those guys as much as we will if that deal doesn't get done. So Jeremy Grant gives us, it's going to help the team. And the way the team is starting to currently build with the presence of Dalton Connect and potentially Klay Thompson if he chooses us, I think Jeremy Grant makes even more sense with the way the team is starting to look with more shooting already in place. So that deal looks better to me with how we're constructed today than it did yesterday. I also understand the Lakers may be willing to bring back Taurean Prince. That doesn't hurt. I think more shooting the merrier. I don't expect that he'll be overutilized for any reason. The roster looks different, so it's no reason for us to think he's going to be starting or anything like that or playing 40 minutes. The roster's not the same anymore. Dalton Connect should essentially remove that. Klay Thompson should essentially remove that. So I think Taurean Prince will make a lot more sense on this roster build than he probably did last year, and he'll probably be coached a lot differently by Coach Reddick. So I'm not against bringing back Taurean Prince. I think this team is built better and will be utilized better for Taurean's actual piece. So that's important. I would love to get rid of some garbage, to be honest with you. With all due respect to Cam Reddish, I consider his contract garbage. It's a roster spot I could use somewhere else. Yeah, I don't feel that way about Jackson Hayes, but I wouldn't hesitate to move him either. I like Jackson Hayes, and I think he has some real nice upside from here, but not maybe what would keep me from making a deal to bring in something that I think could help me better at the same price. So I would probably shop him and Cam Reddish, probably try to throw them into this Portland deal if I can pull it off. And maybe bring back something from Portland that maybe makes some sense for us in that way, man. I know Malcolm Brogdon is already in Washington, so that's long gone. But I'm trying to figure out, I think they do have some type of other contract that maybe somebody on the timeline, maybe they want to move on from. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure they got something. So these are the type of things that I'm just considering, man. I really do want the Lakers to move on from garbage. Cam Reddish, obviously Gabe Vincent are the top of the line. That's what needs to go immediately. Cam Reddish used to play for the Portland Trail Blazers, so he's familiar there. I would try to throw him into this deal. I like Cam Reddish as a player. I didn't hate him. I need the roster spot. That's how I look at it. I don't have much use for his piece. I don't think he's going to get many minutes. I could put someone else in that position that I feel probably fits a bit better at that same price. So somebody that I likely can retrade in the market later down the road, maybe a project of some sort or something like that I can do instead of just having him sitting there with no upside and really no path to playing time. So that's kind of how I look at that. And just overall improve our asset class. I do think Jeremy Grant's contract looks a lot better than it did last year, and I've adjusted my thinking to believe that it could be an asset after all for us. Now that I see that he's making under 30 a year, and I see who's making what around the league, that's not a contract we should be running from. It is committed to 4 years, but I think he'll be pretty good 4 years from now. I don't think he's no older than 30 probably right now. I don't even think Jeremy Grant is 30. So we're familiar with the Grant family. Horace Grant won a championship with us back in the Shaq and Kobe days, so we know the Grant family. Harvey Grant was his dad who played in the NBA. I used to have his basketball card. I did have Harvey Grant's card. I probably still got it, actually, where my basketball cards are stashed. So, that's the kind of thing that's going on, man. I'm not against bringing in Jeremy Grant at under $30 million in this market. That's not bad. 4 years for him is not bad. He signed a 5-year deal, but a year is off of that, so it looks a little better. I'd rather have that than Zach LaVine. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have that than Bruce Bowen on $20 million. Bruce Brown, rather, on $20 million. I don't think Bruce Brown should be making that amount. Even in this market, he's a nice player, but not $20 million nice in my opinion. So, these are the type of things. I like Brook Lopez, but I'm worried about Brook's age. I think you might overload a little too much on veterans. You're already bringing in Klay. You got Bron, you got AD. I don't really want to be much older than that. I don't want to be much older than that. I don't want to be too young either. We want players that can help us now, but I don't want to be old. And once you start bringing in 3 and 4 35-year-olds, that's when things start getting a little out of hand. Now, Brook Lopez can stretch the floor, but he's a bad rebounder, big body, but I'm just hesitant. I know we need a big man. I know that the market's scarce. If we can get a good deal for him that we love, a good trade for him, maybe we could fleece the Bucks somehow. I would definitely be happy to fleece them and bring in back Brook Lopez, but I don't want to give up a young guy like Rui Hachimura for Brook Lopez or Vanderbilt for Brook Lopez. I'm not up for that. I'm just going to be honest with you. Or both for Brook Lopez. Hell no. No, we got to value him properly at this age based on what we think he will do. And so I like Big Brook. I enjoyed having Big Brook. I wish he was a part of a winning situation with us. He was with us for one of those years that wasn't very good, but he did great stuff. I loved having him, but I just not. This is like 5 years after. This is 5 years later, so man, we got to be careful, man. So, if they're willing to take like Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, I guess I'd be willing to do something like that. I don't know how the salary would necessarily match there, but like I'm not willing to give them anything good. Now, if you can rope them somehow into this Portland deal, that might be the way to go. That might be the way to go. That way you can send them Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent makes sense for them. They need some defense in their shooting guard position next to Dame Lillard. So Gabe Vincent to Milwaukee makes sense to me. For he could actually be utilized there. Lord knows they don't have that piece and they need it. So if that's what they're considering, and we bring back Jeremy Grant, bring back Brook Lopez, send Rui out. I don't care which team he lands to. Well, not Rui, D'Lo. I don't care which team he lands with. Probably Portland. Portland sends something to Milwaukee. Milwaukee send Brook to us. Gabe lands in Milwaukee. That kind of thing is possible, I think. If that sounds like, if that's how we're framing the deal, then I don't have a problem roping him into that deal. But if we're doing a separate deal and it costs us stuff that we would rather either keep or move into a different deal that gives us something else, I would prefer that. So just my mind racing all over the place. I don't know what the deal is or what the Lakers are negotiating right now, but I'm guessing it would look something like that. If it was if best case scenario serves it, we would rope Milwaukee into the deal with Portland. And given the fact that Portland and Milwaukee have done the deal before, obviously sending Dame that away, I would think they would be prone to maybe communicate more. So again, do another deal. So that's why Milwaukee and Portland roped into a 3-team deal with us seems like something that could be possible. So yeah, man, Rob Pelinka doing your thing, man. Hopefully Klay Thompson signs. I'm glad we got Max Christie. I'm very happy we got Max Christie. I did not want that young fella to walk to Toronto or some stupid crap like that. So that's a huge win in and of itself. But we still got more work to do, man. If we can get Jeremy Grant, we can get Klay Thompson, bring back Max Christie, Taurean Prince on a 1-year expiring contract deal, I think will really help. I don't want to give him no multi-years and none of that. Another expiring contract for Taurean Prince might not be bad. I say we're doing good things. We still have to figure out our point guard position. I'm personally not comfortable putting the ball in Austin's hands as my sole point guard right now. I'd rather him be my 2 guard. I'm not fully comfortable giving the ball to Jalen Hood-Schifino, to say the least. He hasn't proven anything to me, but I hope he does get an opportunity this year, but not one that is relied upon. So we really do need to address that. Our point guard position, if we're going to send D'Lo out, we need to have a point guard in place. Don't ask Bron to be that facilitator solely. I like the idea of having Anthony Davis as a hub, but you still need a point guard. So I don't want us to underestimate what that truly means. We really should have that piece. So yeah, man. It would be nice if Darvin Ham would have played Jalen Hood-Schifino last year. If he would have had a good season, we wouldn't be looking for a point guard that bad. But because he didn't develop the guy, and he is only 20 years old, we still got 2 or 3 more years of development for Jalen Hood-Schifino. I could totally see the Lakers trading him, but I don't want them to. Make it very clear. I don't want them to. I understand people want to throw him in, but I do not believe in giving away young players. We've already talked about that. Before they fully developed, and we wasted such an important pick on them last year. Too many times we've seen guys have bad couple of years and then come around. Kobe White is the best example I could think of. It took 4 years for Kobe White to turn into what he's turned into. Now, he's going to be one of the better guards in the Eastern Conference. And it took like 5 years for him to develop. So if you would have gave him away when he was averaging 3 and 4 points, boy, Chicago would have been unhappy if they would have did that. So, and I was telling people 2 years ago to go get Kobe White too when he was averaging 3 and 4 points. I told the Lakers. So that's the type of thing. It's like, I'm sure Jalen Hood-Schifino has the same type of upside. He really does. He's not that far off from that type of player, in my opinion. A different way, but that type of production that Kobe White's doing right now, I expect that from Jalen Hood-Schifino over the next 5 years. 5 years from now, rather. So, yeah, man. Don't throw him into something. Don't just throw him in. I would not do that. But anyway, that's pretty much my whole point of view, man. I don't want to have a funny timeline, but having one or two guys that you are developing that will take time is not a bad thing, because some of these role players are going to wean off, and you can step people up into new roles, just like we're doing with Max Christie right now. So our rebuild is imminent. Throwing away our 17th overall pick because he had a bad rookie season still feels like a bad decision to me overall. So that's pretty much my thought, man. Now it's time for me to take that shower. But I wanted to give you guys content here. I appreciate y'all for watching BDF 44, and of course we'll have more as free agency approaches. Peace.